Welcome to the next tutorial. This one is about creating an animation with Blender and use it in Unity Mecanim. I use Blender 2.78 to create this animation, and I have my character Herbert here with existing animations, and I opened up the action editor, and here you can see I have 5 animations already: the idle, the lift, or the smash animation you can see here. And what I will do now is I'm going to create a new animation to lift a really heavy weight. So I will start from an existing animation and click this little plus button here, and a new animation is created, and I call this lift low, or no, let's call it lift 2. I don't want to add a semantic to it. Now I press A key to deselect all these keyframes. Then I press B, select the keyframes here after the first one, and press X to delete all these keyframes, so I have just one column of keyframes for the start of the animation. Okay, now I switch to pose mode and also to auto IK, and I will create an animation where this character is leaning forward and is lifting some heavy weight. I select these 2 bones for the arms, have my auto IK enabled, move to the 10th frame, and then I press the G key and let this character lean forward, because when I move these 2 bones now with auto IK enabled, the character is following this movement. Okay, unfortunately I didn't enable auto keyframing for this, so I have to set it manually, but that's not a problem. I will just press the I key for the 10th frame, and then the keyframes for the selected bones are added. But now I enable the auto keyframes for location and rotation. Just check this little button here, and from now on every change I do for the location or rotation for the bones are stored as keyframes. Okay, I will speed up the video now because it's all the same technique to the end, and after that I will export this character as FBX and import it in Unity 5 and use this new animation in an animation controller of Unity Mecanim. Okay, now the last step is to select all these keys of the first column and press Shift D to duplicate them and move them to the last frame. And this is finally the complete lift animation. The end frame of the animation I set to 30. In the end, I just add some keyframes to improve this animation, to make it look a little bit more natural. I add some rotations to the eyes so that it looks like that this character is really looking at what he's carrying and what he's lifting. And after that I will export this out as FBX. Therefore let's choose File, Export, FBX, export just the mesh and the armature and only the selected objects, and I selected the armature and the mesh. I export it directly into my Unity project folder, and after that I have to add this animation, this lift 2. I named this also lift 2 and press apply to import this character with this new animation. Okay, but what do we have to do now to execute this lift 2 animation in our game? I want to use it to lift a statue And this is a game object the characters are able to interact with. And I wrote a framework for the game Irwin's Time Warp that allows me to execute animations and to interact with other game objects. Perhaps I will show this internal logic in one of the next tutorials, but this time I just want to show you how to execute an animation in this script. There is a use method that you can override, and then you just define which animation you want to be executed, and the name is, in this case, lift 2. But in order to execute this, I have to add it to the Mecanim animator controller. So this guy here has an animator controller. This is called the monster controller. So let's open this, and you see that the state lift 2 has to be added. So I just use an existing state, press Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V to copy this and add the motion I want to be added. This is the lift 2 motion, or the lift 2 animation. I set the speed to 1, and after that I have to create a transition from the new animation state to the idle state again, because after lifting the character should return to the idle state. And I set the name of the state to lift 2, and now I'm able to call this animation from my script. Okay, now let's see if the character is executing the animation. Of course, the statue isn't lifted yet, therefore we had to add also an animation to this game object. Okay, he's moving towards the statue. The action menu is coming up and the lift animation is executed. Okay, great! I really hope you like this tutorial and my channel. Here's the link to subscribe. And I also added a link to one of my previous tutorials. So thanks a lot for watching, and it would be cool to see you soon here on my channel on JNM.